How many weeks do you think you have to live on this earth? You're like, whoa, why you got to hit me with that kind of craziness right out of the gate? I'm just trying to settle into the podcast episode. The reason is because today's guest, Jody Wellman, really spends her life with this message of 4,000 Mondays. And the reason that this is so interesting to me is because a lot of you know that I work with a really incredible longevity heart specialist named Dr. Robert Todd Hurst. And about 2 years ago, I was with Todd and he was doing a presentation, and his opening slide was, the average American has 4,000 weeks to live. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to treat your body? And that's why when Jody came into my world via Dr. Anna Marie, I said, we got to pop this woman on the screen and we got to have a podcast about this right now. So Jody, welcome to Air Check Your Life. How are you today?
Oh, I am even more excited to spend my precious time getting to chat with you here, Matthew.
Let's go. So this concept of 4,000 Mondays, that's the website that you can go to. And then for those who always want to have a deeper dive, she has a book called You Only Die Once. And I recognize it on the screen. It looks like there's a bite taken out of it, but that's because it's a blue shark on her screen and my background is blue. But let's illustrate this for people really quickly. Okay, this is what 4,000 weeks looks like. And so if you're in your 20s, you're like, who cares? I got a lot of Mondays ahead of me. But imagine what this graph looks like in your 50s, in your 60s, in your 70s. And now you start to see visually why we're having this conversation. So the question I'm going to ask you first, Jody, is why is this concept important to you? Why is this the work that you're doing?
Well, I've always been fascinated with death in a not too morbid way, but in more of a, like, always been in self-improvement, and this idea that we're trying to work hard to like our lives so much more. And then all of a sudden, poof, one day we're going to die. So that absurdity always struck me. But I unfortunately lost my mom when she was 58. She died of a heart attack. And this is not a grief story, though. That obviously I grieved. I miss her. But it was more about cleaning up her apartment after she died. And I was the one stuffing her dreams into garbage bags. In her big desk, she had all these manuscripts, stories, drawings, business cards, business plans of ideas she just didn't launch because she thought, I'm going to get to it someday. And man, that hit me because I recognized, quite frankly, I was similar in like a good falling after in her footsteps. And I realized I do not want to get to the end with a bunch of coulda, shoulda, wouldas, like unfortunately my dear mom did.
That's so good. People know my story. My dad died at 47, heart attack, sudden cardiac death. The first day you find out you have a heart problem is the day you die. And it really does. And look, we just did a podcast episode with my friend Jill McMahon a couple of weeks ago. And the title of it was roughly something like, grief makes us better. Going through these hard things makes us better. And I really do hold that tightly because I've always maintained this, Jody. I think death is the single greatest teacher the world has ever known. It will show you more about yourself and the people around you than anything. It offers you this unbelievable perspective on the very thing that you're talking about. And so I'll let you keep piling on there to those comments that I just made.
Yeah, you're super right. Grief is its own wild beast, right? It's like there's a lot to learn and experience around loss of someone. And it can be the mirror that helps to show you, whoa, I too will go. How am I living my life? With me, I won't go into grief as much as I look at death as like the study of death is called thanatology. And so like looking at what can it do for us while we are currently alive, not necessarily dealing with loss, which I do think is also valuable. But it's this temporal scarcity, is the science behind it, that when we look at any kind of asset or situation and we know it's limited time only, our perception of its value goes through the roof. And so that's, as much as I'd love to be positive, like my background's positive psychology. Like you think that I'd be the one talking about abundance? Yeah, except it doesn't really work so well. We need scarcity to be like, dude, your Mondays are limited. What are you waiting for? You're totally dying. I mean, yes, in slow motion, but that's the thing that can be the absolute poke in the ribs we need to take action on these lives that we keep procrastinating. So I feel very passionately about this. I don't know if you can tell.
I just think it's fantastic. And like, the goal for me today, as we jump into this conversation over the next 20 minutes, is like, let's light a fire underneath somebody's fast. And let's get them moving in the right direction, because you're right. So many of us wake up and we say, I'll get to that tomorrow. I'll
Yeah.
do that tomorrow. And then I hear a song by Tim McGraw called Live Like You're Dying. And I think, how? But how? And that's why we have you here today, Jody, right? How do I live like my days are numbered? What does that
Yeah.
actually look like? Because I can't go see all my friends in one day. I can't go on all my trips. I can't max out my credit card. I can't, those are not responsible things to be tackling
Yeah.
every single day of my life. But what's your formula? What are you
Mhm.
teaching on the stage and in the rooms of people you're working with?
Thank you for setting me up. I'm overly excited to go there, because you're totally right. Like, the exercise is about, well, what if you had a year to live? Yeah, we would all blow our bank accounts. We would live. That's
Right.
not actually accurate. I think it's remotely insightful, because if your first instinct is to see friends, well, then start seeing friends more now. But at any
Mm.
rate, one of the most important things to start with is to count your Mondays. And you already showed us the beautiful graphic of 4,000, what it looks like. I have a calculator on my website. It does it for the mortality math for you. That I do every week personally. It's pretty easy when I just literally deduct a number every week. But I've got 1,738 this week. I need that reminder. You need that reminder. We all need, again, that discomfort that comes from the dwindlingness of our reality. So that's the memento mori aspect. That's the reminder that, whoa, right, I am limited. Therefore, what ends up happening, other than perhaps mild discomfort, is usually it can become a bit of an animating feature, right? It's like, in light of that, I see that my time is precious. So that's what we're expecting. So first, do the math. Next up is I have this.
I was doing that math while you were talking, and so the 4,000 weeks equals roughly 76 to 79 years old. Is that kind of what you?
Yeah, and that's imperfect, right? Because most, like in America, most men will live to 78 on average. Women will live till about 82, 83. That's why.
Okay.
It's not going to be perfect, but 4,000 Mondays was way better than 4,389 Mondays.
And we're taking the average, right? Like, my dad dies at 47. There are kids who die at 6. There, you know what I mean? Like, so we're taking the average and we're saying the average person has about 4,000 weeks to giddy up.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully more give. Yep.
Yeah.
You had asked about how do we do this, and I'm big into operationalizing it, because I admittedly I'm into the science of it and the application. So I love this concept of identifying what I call pregrets. Okay, so you've done this. Pregrets. So I know it's hokey, but work with me. Deathbed. Imagine you're lying there, reclined. You got a lot of morphine, so you feel great, and you're looking back on your life, and I don't want you to lament the stupid stuff you did. This is about, what stuff do you feel like, man, I never did XYZ. Like the dreams you didn't take action on, the goals you didn't fulfill. Those are pregrets, because they're not regrets yet. You're not dead yet. And so you still have a chance if you want to. If you think, oh man, I never learned how to speak Italian. Oh, okay. Yeah. If you want to, you could just download, I don't know, the app and start speaking Italian tonight. Like, probably crappy. But if you never made it to that part of the earth to see the Northern Lights, you could technically make a plan to do that. If you never, I've always wanted to write the book. Okay. You could start on Saturday morning. So pregrets are crucial, because they help us tune into these things where, again, don't get to the end with the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Life is short. Take action on what you want now. Can I be nosy and ask you, like, is there anything, if you were to go tonight, sorry about your luck, Matthew, would there be anything you'd be like, man, I never did XYZ?
It's a terrible Good Friday. It's a terrible Good Friday. Okay. What's the question?
Would you have any pregrets, even mild or silly ones, that you didn't take action on, that you'd be, darn it all, I never did that thing?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I do. Like, I had a really unbelievable life, and I have so much gratitude for the experiences that I had over 28 years. I really, in my heart of hearts, feel like I checked so many boxes. And so, yeah, but what are there? I think I'm in that right now, and I'm actively trying to pursue it, right? It's to transition my career. It's to take my career in this second part of my life and make it feel just as much as the first one did.
Oh, I love that so much. Okay, so we don't need to go deep into regret research, but there's just so much of it. And there's really cool stuff. So Dan Pink does a lot of work in this area. And what you're just touching on, you didn't say the words. I'm going to extrapolate because it's also
Please.
from me. When we have these things like I would regret on my dying bed not being bolder. And that is not technically a thing, right? It's not that I didn't start the TV show, right? It's like, I wish I had been a little bolder with my choices, more confident, taken more risks. Cause also what do I have to lose, right? That's actually the ethos that I can yell to others, but also need to do it in the mirror. So when you just talked about how you're making this awesome change, maybe there's a little flavor in there about like wanting to be bold about how you do it. Like, balls to the wall, like what do we, no regrets, like going for it.
100%.
So sometimes the way in which we might feel a regret maybe about a thing like, oh, I never booked the family reunion in Ireland. Okay. Or it could be more of a way of being, right? Like, oh, I regret that I was never really that present with my kids or my family. Wow. Well, good news. You get to start that tonight. You just put the phone down for 7 minutes and you got 7 minutes in the bank that you got to spend with your family. Good for you. So that's the regret thing. It's like, it's a really good indicator of how you want to live a certain way. And you can course correct it. Because again, you still have a pulse. Last we checked. Yeah.
So here is a question that I wrote down as you were talking about this. And so how are you coaching people to overcome the excuse train that wants to drive right through all their dreams?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the excuse that what I hear in my world is I'm going to wait till work dies down. I'm too busy. Right. Sometimes it's money. Yeah. Sometimes it's time. Like, oh, I don't have time. I'm going to wait till I retire, which to me is like, we need to sound off all the alarm bells for that. Cause we all have heard the stories. You wait till retirement and then all of a sudden, your fibromyalgia flares up and you can't walk up the Spanish steps. Like that's a pretty crappy retirement that you waited. Right. I clearly have opinions on some of these things.
I want all of them.
It is about pay attention because I think I will do it later is a little bit of a screen that is really covering fear, which really has to do with the fact that it takes courage to live. And I think Seneca, the philosopher, once said that. And it actually is scarier for some of us, most of us, to take action on something that we want to do because it might represent failure, rejection, any other emotional upheaval that feels anything other than fabulous. And it's just way easier to not do anything at all. So to not play the game rather than to get in and maybe have it not work. But can I ask you, because I'm leading the witness, but I think you feel the same way. I know you do philosophically. Wouldn't you rather try at the thing and have it maybe not, darn it, all not go as planned? That feeling is far superior to the feeling of, again, getting to the end and feeling that life like I never engaged. I played not to win, but I played not to lose. And that playing not to lose is just like, you're not even engaging, you're not participating. And I don't know about you, but I want us to get participation ribbons in life galore. I want us all to be like, we showed up, we tried. Yeah, maybe that business venture was a bust, but you know what? You get to go down in flames with pride.
So I was just talking with a friend of mine the other day. And by the way, I have a term for what you just expressed, which is called autopilot and smile mode. And I spent the last 3 years of my career in autopilot and smile mode. I was literally just playing safe, just playing nothing but defense, just trying to keep everything together, trying to keep all the big paychecks coming in. And what's really crazy about my life is that I had what from the outside looking in, people would think like, this is the most incredible life somebody can have. You know, I was in the radio and television business. I was hanging with all kinds of famous people, getting experiences that people read about in People magazine and literally doing all the things and making all the money that came along with it. But I was what my friend Courtney McDermott calls miserably successful. And the reason that we call this podcast Air Check Your Life, because it really does play into what you're talking about, Jody, is in the radio and television business, every single day we got off the air, we would go into a room and we would listen back to our show and we would say, what did we get right? What was okay? But if we're going to do it again, we need to change the way we deliver it. And what did we do today that cost us an audience? And we can use those three questions in your framework, I believe. We can say to ourselves, okay, if I only have 4,000 Mondays or 1,738, as it would be in your case, what am I doing right? What am I getting right in my life? What are the areas that I could be taking a peek at? You mentioned, I want to learn Italian. I want to go see the Northern Lights. So what are the areas that you have an opportunity to make an improvement? Like right here, right now, if the excuse train goes away, you could legitimately get it done. And then what are you doing that's probably getting in the way of you getting to all 4,000 Mondays that you want to have in your life? And those are going to be things like, I'm in relationships that don't serve me. I don't take care of my health. I don't speak up for myself. I know for me, one of the biggest ones was I avoid very difficult conversations. It's one of the reasons that I do the work that I do right now. And so I wanted to put a nice little pretty bow on this conversation to say, this is why we have this podcast, because I want people to look at their life and say, what am I getting right? What's okay that I need to tweak? And what am I doing to get in my own way? And so I'm going to ask you, as we wind down our conversation, Jody, what are you getting right in your life right now?
Yeah, right now I am going for it creatively. Because creativity is one of my most important values. It makes me feel alive because I'm very in tune with my big question is what makes you feel alive? And then what a darn shame if we don't go and do more of that. And so I am getting out there and trying new creative things.
What's going okay, but if you're going to keep doing it, you better tweak the way you do it.
Looking after an aging dad. And I love him so much. And it brought so much meaning to help him move into assisted living last year. And I also am not being the daughter that I want to be half the time.
What are you doing to get in your own way? What are you doing that's costing you an audience?
I am not positioning what I do in a more palatable fashion. I mean, let's be honest. Death is very enticing. Everybody loves it. But I need to make sure I am wrapping it, not with a black bow, but with guys, this is not about death. This is about living.
Right. It's such a good message. And the book is called appropriately, You Only Die Once. And look, there's been some people that have died and like come back to life, and look at the way they're getting after it. When they have that near-death experience, like there is something to be learned there. So as we wrap up in the next 3 minutes, let's give me a challenge. Give my audience a challenge, Jody. Like you're on the stage, give me the closing to the keynote, like really challenge me. And I want to feel uncomfortable when you're done with this challenge. Okay. So I really want you to bring it.
Yeah. I'm going to make you break out into a rash. Yeah. And I've got a buddy and he's got a scythe. So like I'm hooked up over here, got the Reaper in my back corner. Yeah. I think, you mentioned also you've got a longevity doctor friend and living longer. Awesome. But most of us, I think, are interested in quality. So I'm interested in living wider and deeper as well. So with this vitality, I want you to think about your life right now, scale of 1 to 10. How wide is it in terms of the vitality, the fun, the pleasure, the experiences you're having? Are you out there feeling like you are doing all the cool stuff you want to be doing? That's 1 to 10. The other spectrum is deeper, and that's with meaning and purpose and connection to other people, doing the deep stuff of life. 1 to 10. Where are you? That comes together into quadrants I will not bore you with now. No time. We don't need to go there. What I want you to do is identify out of the widening and or deepening, what's one thing you're going to do to prove you're alive to yourself in the next week. And I'm not saying next month, I'm saying quickly. You only have today. You may not even have the next week. Let's be honest. I mean, odds are slim. You're probably going to be around. Good for you. But what are you going to do to prove and to make the most of this life you've been lucky enough to have been gifted?
So I'm going to think about that answer and really be thoughtful about it. And I hope our audience does too. I hope that you strike that chord with them. And again, I want to go back to this because I think it's important to help us overcome the obstacle of fear. Fear is what probably gets in the way of not getting to a 10 in both ways. And fear can look like a lot of things. You mentioned rejection or failure, some of those things. So again, coach me up a little bit on overcoming my obstacles.
Yeah. For most of us, we've gone through the rational thinking and we understand that really failure won't be that bad. Yeah. At this point, I don't have time for that. We need the splash of cold water. We need to say, you're dying. Like, you think you have time, that's a joke. Odds are that you are probably going to live quite a while, and that would actually be even more of a shame, because if you live a life that is bland and paltry because you're not applying yourself, living up to the potential that you know damn well that you have in you, I mean, that is just the biggest, saddest shame. We like, get out there, get in the game. You have nothing to lose because, as I've said, you're dying. Do it.
Love it.
Do it before you don't. Do it before you die.
Yeah, man. Jody, thank you. It's called You Only Die Once. That's the book. Jody Wellman, 4,000 Mondays. We'll link to her in our show notes so that people can have a peek at it. Any speaking engagements coming up here in Arizona that I need to be aware of, because I need to drop by and say hello.
Oh, you know what? Arizona, not on the horizon. New Orleans, come on and see me there next week. Woohoo.
Oh, outstanding. Well, enjoy it. And really, thank you for coming on. I see a repeat guest here in the horizon, and I'm grateful to have spent a little bit of time with you. Thanks.
Oh, me too. Time's precious. Thanks, Matthew.
Yeah, no sweat, no sweat. And for everybody who's paying along, paying attention here, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It's the only way that we see, look at, there's people out there that are actually consuming this content and checking it out. For those of you who listen, a reminder that we are also on our new YouTube channel. That's brand new as of this year. We never used to do this. I use a radio snob and I refuse to do video, but I understand that in this age, people love it. So we're there on YouTube having a good time as well. And I'll see you guys next week. Have a great day.